Hey, welcome to the Max Revenue YouTube channel. My name is Micah Salas. I am your host, and I am going to call this series here, I guess you could say, LinkedIn Mailbag. I get a bunch of messages on LinkedIn from producers out there. Thank you for sending them. I can't respond to most of them, and the way the LinkedIn inbox goes, it just keeps rolling. So I thought, hey, why not do maybe a weekly video or at least once, twice a month and go back and try to respond to some of the questions that I'm getting in the inbox. So this week I'm going to talk about two things specifically. One is kind of when you're getting pushback on BORs from a client, how do you work around that? And I'm going to share a good message I got from someone there. And then the other thing I want to talk about and address is follow-up, kind of the art of the follow-up. There was a guy that said that we don't talk about it enough. So let's get into that. All right, so BORs, right? Everyone wants to sell business. They want to be hired as the exclusive agent before quoting, right? Obviously, we all want that. We want to get hired first to know we're not going to waste our time potentially. Let's just call this guy Brian. Sent me a message and he says, hey, I'm getting lots of pushback on BORs when they want to work with me but are scared to sign. Can you critique my blurb? And so I'm going to kind of read you what he said. I might cut out some things here and there, and then I'll talk through it. So this is kind of his take. Signing a BOR doesn't mean you're locked into big changes or committed no matter what. What it really does is let you choose who you want representing you in the insurance marketplace. All right, so let's just kind of break that one down. I would say, yes, that is accurate. It does let you choose who you want representing you in the marketplace. So maybe a better way to frame that is it gives you control ultimately, right? Otherwise, who has the control? Essentially, the carriers have the control. Because if you really like Agent A, but Agent B has a better price and program just because they got access to a carrier first, now you're stuck going with Agent A. So it takes that control out of your hands. So I'm always trying to put things back into the buyers and what benefits them. So that's all I would say on the first part. And let's continue. At worst, the new broker, ideally someone you trust and feel good working with, keeps things as they are. But in many cases, there's room to make improvements, whether it's better coverage, fixing gaps, or finding more competitive pricing. So that's a good point. I think what he's trying to say and what I've said a lot is, hey, worst case scenario, you sign this broker of record letter and I come back out here, you're going to have the same exact coverage, similar pricing, right? Whenever that carrier comes in at renewal. The new carrier is not just going to drop you because you changed agents or anything like that. So that's the worst case scenario, but there's a lot of upside here. One thing I'd like to add to that is say, hey, Mr. Client, hey, if we drop the ball here and don't deliver on what I've just kind of laid out to you, you can fire me. You can literally sign an agent of record letter, go back to your old agent, and I'm sure they'd gladly take you back with open arms, right? So just another thing to kind of give them peace of mind. All right, let's continue on with his blurb. I totally understand why people might hesitate, but more and more brokers are moving toward this approach because unfortunately without it, the current agent can block access to certain carriers or suddenly fix issues that they never addressed before just to stay in the picture. It puts the new agent in a tough spot and slows down the process. So this is okay. It's somewhat accurate, but put yourself in a buyer's shoes for a second, right? They're probably sitting there thinking, okay, well, why is that my problem? Okay, so bring it back to why is that their problem? And this is what I always tell business owners when it comes down to why picking one agent makes the most sense. And it really comes down to underwriter excitement. Okay. And if you have an agent go into the market that's not your current agent, they're going to be asked, hey, who do you control this account? You got to say no. And then what's going to happen from there is that you're going to get lower on the list. You got to put yourself in an underwriter's shoes, Mr. Business Owner. They're very busy. They get a lot of submissions. They want to work on the deals that they think they can win. When they get a submission from an agent who's not the incumbent agent or the controlling agent, agent of record, they will prioritize this less, right? Unless this agent has a really compelling story to tell, but they've heard it all. And they know that their odds of winning the business are probably 10%. That's the statistics. 90% of the time when you quote, Mr. Business Owner, or any business quotes in America, all the carriers know this, they have the data, they stay with the incumbent. And that means the incumbent agent has the upper hand and they control the situation. So this is the story that you really want to convey. Now, side note, I think I've won enough deals on quoting where underwriters definitely can get excited about a deal. If you're not the incumbent agent, you just got to obviously tell a compelling story, do your research, and give a reason for why the client is bringing you in. But that's a side note, right? So back to this. That's the thing, though. You need to convey to these business owners that they want to get the underwriters most excited, right? They want to make sure that that their submission is top of stack, that it's the center of the underwriter's universe. And what better way to do that than when you have the controlling agent that controls the whole market and can say with confidence when they're negotiating for you, hey, underwriter, I'm the controlling agent. The client just made a change of agents. We're remarketing this. I'm giving everyone a fair shot. We really want to partner with you. We've only gone to you and 3 other markets, right? And so this is what you got to be telling business owners, right? When you're talking like this, it clicks, right? Like, okay, I get it. I want my broker that's representing you to be more confident, because then underwriters are going to feel more confident. And then they're going to prioritize my opportunity in quoting my insurance. And so that should hopefully improve the odds of driving down costs, right? Okay. The other thing, I don't know if he gets to it, but I'll just say it here since it's top of mind, is that when you have one agent, they can better negotiate between the carriers and leverage the marketplace better, right? So they know where they got to get to, or the best, how to get, they want to get the best price. And so this one agent can then, leverage all the carriers up against each other, because they, again, can say with confidence, hey, if you get here, you got the deal, or nope, that's not going to cut it. You got to be around this price point at least to even get a shot. And I can tell you that. And now the agent knows, or the underwriter knows, hey, if I can get there, this agent controls the account. So they could get there more likely, where if the agent didn't control it, they don't know really where they need to be, because they don't even know if their agent that submitted the submission is going to win. So kind of talking off the top of my head here. So if this is not the smoothest presentation, forgive me, but again, it's all about conveying this story to business owners. All right, last paragraph. The reality is it takes a lot of time and effort to review, quote, and rework policies properly. Doing all that without knowing if the client even wants to move forward can make it tough for both sides. Some brokers even charge for reviews up front and waive the fee later if it leads to a working relationship. But the goal is always the same, making sure you're working with someone who's truly looking out for you, and that there's mutual trust in the process. So sounds good. Again, call him Brian. But ultimately, put yourself in the business owner's shoes. The thing that you want them to understand is, hey, you want the best price, right? That's your problem. I'm going to show you a way to solve that problem. If you hire me, you've currently told me that your current agent isn't really meeting your expectations. The pricing going up. There's issues. Things aren't going down to the last minute. There's no strategies around or new ideas being brought to you. And so if I get hired, this is what I would do, right? And you lay that out to the prospect, and you hope that they can wrap their head around it or meet you where you're at. So you're going to get pushback on BORs. The first to take this a step back, how you educate them really matters. This is why when I go to the first meeting, it's more just about explaining the rules and how the game works, right? Is what I say. And that's pretty simple, but the thing is, you need the buyer to understand that using one agent makes the most sense. Again, doesn't mean it's the only way to do things, right? I've quoted and won several deals where I could have AOR'd it, but I didn't because the client couldn't come around. Doesn't make you a liar, doesn't make you unethical, anything like that. But again, it doesn't make sense. There's no need to use more than one agent. But if you want to, yeah, we can go down that path. But this is what most business owners are doing now, because they're sick of all the blocking markets, all the games, the duplication of efforts, the time wasted. They're just picking one agent, kind of like real estate, kind of like a sports athlete, right? Would pick one agent to go to the market for them. And the reason they're doing that is because there's thousands of insurance companies out there for any given risk. Once you get down to the nitty gritty of what you do, where you're located, your size, etc., there's maybe 5 or 6 markets. All those 5 or 6 markets will only sell through agents that they have contracts with. Most agencies that are coming out here trying to quote your insurance, we have contracts with the same agencies, right? Those agencies are only going to release a quote to the agent that sends a submission in first. So having 2, 3, 4 agents go to the same 5, 6 markets just doesn't make sense, and it actually hurts you if they get all these submissions like, hey, what's going on? So you want to be strategic with quoting, but this is why a lot of business owners just said, I'm just going to pick one agent, And the reason that they picked the one agent is because what they've realized is it saves a lot of time. Obviously, you have to trust the agent, but also then the whole marketplace tends to get more excited when they get a submission from the one agent. Where as opposed to if they get a submission from an agent who's not the controlling agent, they're going to be less excited. That's what it all comes down to, is underwriter excitement. You want to build that up. You want that story to be conveyed, and then it's leverage. So excitement and leverage. And I believe, using one agent does that the best. However, and so that's what a lot of companies have done. And here's the results that I've achieved for companies who've hired me. Now, I do understand there's a trust aspect to this, right? So there's what if everything I'm saying I don't deliver on, right? And that is why I do due diligence up front. And so at least you can kind of see a plan on paper. Hey, if I'm hired, here's how we'd improve your coverages. Here's where I think your pricing would be. Here would be our marketing strategy. And here would be our basically ongoing kind of proactive service strategy that we implement after the sale. And so I know there's not going to be a price when I come back. I'm just going to come back and kind of lay out a game plan for how we can help you. So I am asking for a little bit of trust, but that's just the way that most business owners have gone to. And if you don't want to go down that path, or that doesn't make sense, or you can't do that, I totally understand. But this is just what how I operate, how I want to lay things out. So anyways, that's just what I just gave you there is kind of a spiel, again, off the top of my head, of what I would say to a business owner when talking about BORs. So Ben, if you're watching this, and I'm using your, if you're watching this, that's my response. So hopefully you found that helpful. All right, let's go to one other one real quickly. I said I would talk about following up. Let's see. All right. Okay, so basically something I don't think you and Trey have talked deeply on would be the subject of following up. I'd love to hear your take. Basically, he has a lot of clients that say yes to working together, but then the information gathering process takes months to finally get it all. How do you go about it? I feel like a pest sometimes. So follow-up is kind of one of those things where it's a little bit of an art form. You don't want to be over the top with it. But take a couple steps back. You want to make this process as frictionless as possible. So at that first meeting, when the client agrees to taking the next steps with you, what I only ask for initially is just policies, because anything else is creating more friction, more opportunity, going to delay the process. So on that first meeting, I say, hey, all I need is electronic copies of policies. Do you have those in your inbox? Yeah, I should have them somewhere. Okay, great. What I'll do is I'll send you an email after this so you can kind of see what we need, and then I'll follow up in 7 days if I haven't heard from you. Does that sound fair? Yes. So that's key up front. I get that upfront kind of contract saying I will follow up with you if I don't hear from you. Don't be annoyed, but it's kind of part of my job. I've realized insurance isn't the center of people's universe. So yeah, hopefully you don't mind. No, not a problem. And then if they're having issues getting the policies, it can turn into a wedge, right? Because it's like, okay, you don't have copies. That's a problem. Why not? But otherwise, if they're not, maybe it tells you they're really not serious, right? They're not taking you serious, or the timing might be off. So what I would do from a follow-up standpoint in this situation, they promised me policies. It's been 7 days. I still don't have them. I'm going to call them, and then I'm going to email them if they don't pick up. And then I'm going to wait about another week. I'm going to call them, email them again. And then I might reach out one more time. So that'd be about 3 to 4 times over a 3-4 week span. I'm not harassing them 2-3 times a week. I just think that's overkill. They know who you are. You're on the radar. You've met. And I would just maybe send a follow-up like, hey, Steve, I don't know if you still want us to do due diligence. If something's changed, totally get it. Just let me know. I just don't want to, keep bugging you if I don't have to. Otherwise, though, I do follow up with people. That's kind of what I've learned is the best way. So I will continue to follow up with you periodically if I don't hear back from you. And then it's up to you. I mean, you can follow up once a month from there. Depends on the timeline too. I mean, if they're coming up for renewal in a couple months and you don't have that leeway or that amount of time to give, then just put it out for next year. right? Don't just keep pound, and then waste all this time. And, I just say, give it time to breathe. Didn't get it this year. Guy flaked out, whatever reason. Put it 6 months after the renewal, 5 months after the renewal, reach out again. Start the process over again. When they pick up, remind them, hey, Bob, hey, it's Micah. Oh, yeah. If they don't remember you, hey, yeah, remember we talked last year about doing some due diligence? I know timing just wasn't right at that moment. For whatever reason, we never got, nothing materialized. I just want to follow up this year to see if we could continue talks. Simple as that. So, yeah, hopefully you found that helpful, Mike. And thanks for the message. But those are the two LinkedIn inbox things that I wanted to talk about this week. So, hey, if you like this, give me some feedback. Let me know. Should I keep doing it? Should I not do it? I'm cool either way. But I thought you guys would maybe find this helpful. All right, take care, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. Appreciate all your support. See ya.